Life is always filled with a lot of mysteries, and sometimes you have to journey along to explore some of these mysteries that have taken place over a period of time. I've always heard about the Mayans when I went to school in Jamaica, but the stories that they told about them was somewhat in a concise form. And I know the Mayans were a sophisticated set of individuals. And when I planned this trip to go to Mexico, I had the idea that I would visit the ruins. So we started off on a cruise ship and we journeyed a long way. As a matter of fact, this was my first time on a cruise and I actually enjoyed it. The scene as the ship moved through the water was exciting. As a matter of fact, a little bounce here and there, but notwithstanding, it was something awesome. The ship was called the Celebrity Cruise Line, of course, and they had a wonderful sort of atmosphere. Everything was fine. The food was delicious, and as a matter of fact, I think I had a lot to eat at some point in time. Notwithstanding, I got some steps in, and at one stage, I did tap 15,000 steps in one day. So after a day on water, we arrived in Mexico and we docked on the pier. Now that was one leg of the journey. Remember, I did not purchase directly the tour. I wanted to do it on my own. Life is all about a learning journey. So therefore, I decided that I would do something. We got off the ship a bit late. Notwithstanding, we decided that going to Tulum was possible. However, let me tell you that the journey was not straightforward again. Hence, we had to see how we would go over. Now, to start off, we had to go to the mainland, and we took a ferry over. Yes, the ferry over was somewhat pricey. I thought, goodness, half an hour journey for $50 per person was a bit expensive. Notwithstanding, we traveled along, and during this 30 to 45 minutes, we had musicians singing, the waves are bouncing up, and I enjoyed the journey. Yes, it was a spectacular sight just going over. Now, once we reached over, there was another challenge. Remember, I stated before, we did not book our, tour through the cruise. So when we got to the destination that the ferry took us off, we had to negotiate. I said we could maybe take public transportation, but that was not possible because going there was an hour, coming back was an hour. And if we missed the ferry to go back at 2 o'clock, then we would have a problem because the next ferry would be at 5 and the ship cruises off at 5. So we had to decide to negotiate. We saw one individual that directed us to take a bus up, and I said to myself, that is kind of impossible. So what we did was to go over and we found someone who would take us up at a fraction of the cost. Now, bear in mind, it's still expensive for me because people are seeing me as a tourist, and to be honest, and once you're off the ship, they think you have some money to spend. Now, the family and myself, and of course, my wonderful brother-in-law, we took this taxi and we're driving up. Yes, I'm at the front and I'm trying to speak a little Spanish here and there. I did ask the man what his name was, and we're driving through the city, going up, and we're driving through the roads. To be honest, it reminded me of Jamaica on the north coast. The vegetation was the same, and he was very careful in his driving. I did not see that sort of Jamaican driver or Floridian drivers there. I think they obey the roads better than we do in Jamaica and, of course, the United States. And we drove for a long time. After reaching the destination, we had someone suggesting that it would be best for us to buy a tour, and we were introduced to this wonderful tour guide. He said he was a knowledgeable person, and of course, he was the best at speaking English, and we bought into it. Remember, we don't have time because we have to get back to the ship at roughly, let's say, for instance, 5 o'clock. And right now, by the time we got there, was some minutes to 11. So here we are trying to move. The line was a bit long, but notwithstanding, we got through and we met our tour guide at the top. And of course, he had some issues with his knee. He had to go on his bicycle from various points. Notwithstanding, he gave us the wonderful talk as it relates to the Mayans. And as he sat down, he gave us the lecture regarding their society. And from his talk, I realized that it meant a lot to him. He also stated that he was from the Mayan heritage, and I honestly believed him. The history of the Mayan ruins in Tulum is very rich. As a matter of fact, Tulum is located on the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And of course, he talked about the fascinating chapter and stories of the Mayan civilization. He stated that Tulum is uniquely situated on a cliff overlooking the wonderful waters of the Caribbean Sea. And I believe him, actually, as you can see here, making it one of the most outstanding Mayan sites. You know, it's important to understand that this place was a sight of beauty, and I sat in awe as I watched people just looking in and seeing the civilization. Now, he talked about the construction, and he stated that unlike many ancient Mayan cities, Tulum was built around the 1200 CE. During the declining years of the Mayan civilization, it represents the post-classic period of the Mayan history. He talked about the walled city, and he stated that Tulum is one of the few walled Mayan cities, with walls on three sides, and the sea providing a natural barrier on the fourth. And I can't understand, based on what I saw, what he was talking about. This fortification suggests politics and social instability at that time was taking place. Or perhaps it was to reinforce its status as a stronghold. Another good thing about this wonderful tour guide is that he had his pictures to show what was actually taking place. He had his pictures laminated, as you can see here. He talked about the cultural and religious significance of this area. He stated that the city was not just a commercial hub, but also had a religious significance. He stated that the sculptures were indicative of Mayan religion and, of course, their beliefs. He also highlighted the stratified structure of their society and also gave us information regarding the role sacrifices played in the society. Yes, he gave an in-depth description of the sacrifice. He also stated that there was a decline as it relates to this area. And of course, this is unusual as most Mayan cities were abandoned by the time the Spanish had made their conquest. The ruins became a focus of archaeological interest in the late 19th century, revealing much about the late post-classical Mayan culture. As I walked around, I realized that thousands of people continue to come. Today, Tulum, I would say, is a popular destination for tourists, known for its well-preserved ruins and stunning natural backdrop. I was in awe all the time. It provides a unique window into the Mayans' world and continues to be a site of archaeological importance. Let me say, my trip to Tulum, Mexico was exciting. The story of Tulum is one about adaptability, resilience of the Mayans, showcasing their archaeological, commercial, and religious beliefs, even as their civilization was in decline. To be honest, I was amazed. Now, getting back was somewhat challenging. Our driver was already waiting, and of course, we were now back on our way, and he gave us a wonderful drive again. Yes, it was awesome looking at the hotels, and so many hotels that are in Mexico are already in Jamaica. I felt a bit proud seeing them. But as he drove, I kept thinking about Tulum, and I kept thinking about the civilization. I kept thinking about the connection that they left here and their knowledge regarding what they built. Of course, these individuals had a lot to offer in their time, and I'm sure they had knowledge that we are yet to explore based on what I saw. But what I saw was interesting. Yes, it was time to get back on the boat and go over now, and it was a wonderful sight as we moved towards the boat. We took some wonderful photographs of the beach, and I must say it was awesome. I wish I had more time to spend, but remember, if I did not take this ferry over at 2, then I would not have a chance to reach the boat in time, because the next ferry would be at roughly 5 o'clock, and the ship sails at 5 o'clock, and we need roughly 45 minutes to go over. So I must say that we had to be ready as Freddy, as they say in Jamaica. And soon, as we reached over, we were back on the pier. We were ready to go back. And it was an exciting day, a day I'll never forget, because what I saw was something I imagined back in my school days. and now I was able to see it. I would encourage anyone, take visits to historical sites. You'll have an insight into these places that you've never had before. Thanks for viewing this video, and remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel. We need your support in order to produce more content. I also say to you that in 2024 and beyond, look out for more, because I'm going to have content that you'll enjoy. Once you are attracted to this channel, it means that you want to go on a learning journey. Thanks